Assalamualaikum, I am Nurul Ashkin Atira binti Razmi from class BA 2732C, and today I would like to present about self-reflection video about organizational behavior. First, what is organizational behavior? It is about the study of how people behave in organizations that focus on individuals, groups, and workplace behavior. It also focuses on understanding employees' attitudes, perceptions, motivation, communication, and decision-making to improve organizational effectiveness and performance. What is the goal of this organizational behavior? The goal of this organizational behavior is to determine which behavior can lead to the best outcome for organizations. OB helps organizations to improve employee performance, teamwork, communication, motivation, and overall productivity. The organizational behavior is influenced by several disciplines. First is psychology, which studies individual behavior, personality, motivation, and emotions. Next is sociology, which focuses on group behavior, teamwork, and organizational culture. Social psychology studies communications, leadership, and interactions among individuals in organizations. Besides that, anthropology helps us understand organizational culture and cultural differences among employees. To better understand my personality and values, I use the MBTI evaluations. Based on the results, I am an INTP type, also known as logicians. This personality type is generally described as someone who is analytical, logical, and highly curious. INTP tends to enjoy exploring ideas in depth, questioning how things work, and seeking logical explanations rather than accepting information at face value. From these results, I also understand that I have a strong tendency to think critically and approach situations in a more rational way. I often prefer to observe and analyze before making decisions, especially when I am faced with new or challenging situations. I also enjoy problem solving and tend to focus more on finding effective solutions rather than reacting emotionally. However, I also recognize that this personality type can sometimes make me overthink or spend too much time analyzing instead of taking immediate actions. Despite that, being an INTP helps me to stay open-minded and creative when it comes to ideas and learning new things. Overall, this result gives me a better understanding of how I think, behave, and interact with others, which helps me improve both personally and academically. Personality model, which describes personality through 5 main dimensions. For openness to experience, I scored high, which means I am imaginative and curious. I enjoy exploring new ideas, thinking creatively, and being open to different perspectives and possibilities. For neuroticisms, I also scored high, which indicates that I can be quite sensitive and tend to overthink situations. I may sometimes experience worry or stress more easily, especially when dealing with uncertainty or pressure. Meanwhile, in terms of conscientiousness, I scored low, which suggests that I am more flexible rather than highly structured or strict with routines. I prefer adapting to situations as they come instead of following very rigid plans. For extroversions, I scored low, meaning I am more introvert. I feel more comfortable in quiet environments and usually prefer small group interactions rather than large social settings. I tend to be more reserved and reflective. Lastly, for agreeableness, I scored at a moderate level. This means I can be respectful and cooperative when working with others, but I also maintain a logical and objective approach when making decisions. Overall, this balance allows me to work well in teams while still being able to think critically. One of the organizational behavior issues that I can relate to my personal experience are through attitude and job satisfactions, which is the evaluative statement about object, people, or events. Based on my personal experience during diploma studies, I was appointed as the president of a program that required collaboration with secondary school students. At first, I believed that the task would be difficult to manage due to the responsibilities involved, which reflect the cognitive component of attitude. During the implementation of the program, my feelings gradually changed from worry and nervousness to excitement, happiness, and motivations, showing the effective component of attitude. With the cooperation and support from my teammates, the program was successfully conducted, and I actively organized activities, communicated with them, and coordinated the program smoothly, which demonstrate the behavioral component of attitude. After the program ended, I conducted a program evaluation and requested feedback from participants to identify weaknesses and improve future programs. This experience also increased my job satisfaction because I feel proud, satisfied, and more confidence in my leadership abilities after successfully completing the program. In addition, I could relate my second experience regarding perception and decision-making involved. The three key factors, which are the perceiver, the target, and the situations. The perceiver in this case is myself. As an INTP personality type, I tend to think deeply and analyze situations carefully before making conclusions, which sometimes leads me to interpret my teammates' behavior and level of commitment. The target refers to my teammates. During group assignments, I observed their response and participations, especially when I invited them for discussion sessions. Some of them often declined my request due to various reasons. The situations involve our group assignment context where deadlines, academic workloads, and personal commitments influence their availability for discussions. Initially, I perceived their responses as excuse and assumed they were not serious about completing the task. However, after communicating with them in polite and open manner, I realized that they were actually facing legitimate personal and academic challenge. This experience taught me that perception can easily lead to misunderstanding if assumptions are made without fully understanding the actual situations. To address this issue, I improved my communication approach by asking questions calmly and seeking to understand my teammates' situations before drawing conclusions. As a result, our teamwork improved, discussion became smoother, and we successfully completed the assignment together. Overall, this experience helped me understand the importance of perceiver, target, and situation in shaping perception and decision-making, organizational behavior. On the other hand, I could relate my third experience during my position as an assistant secretary in my previous work for last issue, which are motivation from concept to applications. Based on my previous working experience, I can relate my experience with the job characteristic model. First, in terms of skill variety, I handle annual reports, emails, and calls from clients which required communications, administrative, and problem-solving skills. Besides that, I also participated in meetings and shared ideas on how the company could improve staff productivity. Next, for task significance, my work helped the company maintain good communication with clients and support daily operations. In terms of autonomy, my boss trusted me to meet clients and discuss the service offered by the company, even though it was beyond my job scope. This responsibility made me feel more trusted and motivated. Lastly, through feedback and trust from my boss, I gained confidence, new knowledge, and valuable working experience. Overall, this experience increased my motivations and job satisfactions because I enjoy learning new things and taking on greater responsibilities. Overall, learning organizational behavior has helped me better understand my personality, behavior, and how I interact with others. It has increased my self-awareness and helped me recognize my strengths and areas for improvement, especially in teamwork and communication. This subject also helps me appreciate different personality in a group setting.